Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Monday. It's Daryl here. It's 5 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. And yes, I am happy this morning. It is a happy Monday. New York Times, baby, comes out with Trump's tax information for 2016, 2017. And it is ugly. It's ugly. Supposedly they have 15 years of tax returns. And of course, they want to sell papers. So this is going to come out in dribs and drabs for next month. I love the fact that this came out just before the debates. All right, let's talk about this. The biggest thing that came to my mind, I don't even know where to start here. Mr. Law and Order. Mr. Law and Order. I support the police. I support the military. They love him. Tell me, is he contributing anything? Is he contributing one dime to their safety, to their uniforms, to their weapons, to their training, to keeping our soldiers safe, to the gas for the tanks, for the helicopters? No, not a cent. Not only that, we're paying his share, him and his billionaire buddies sitting down there in Mar-a-Lago, laughing their asses off, drinking whatever billionaires drink and eat, having a grand old time on our dime. $750. So if you Google what the average American makes, Google says about $10,000 to $11,000 the average American pays in taxes a year, but that includes state and other taxes. So I looked it up more, and it's for an average American, it makes, say, $35,000 to $85,000. That's probably average American. About 22%. That's $15,000, $20,000 a year. Donald Trump paid $750. That's he paid for the year what we probably pay in less than a month. The supposed billionaire, the president of our country, and we are carrying his load. We're the ones paying for the military, for the police, for everything, for the roads, everything in this country we're paying for, not him, because he's smart. Now, I can imagine what Trump supporters are going to say. They're going to go along with this smart thing. Well, hey, if he can get away with it, good for him. I'd do it too. Well, let's think about, hey, why don't we all do this next year? Let's all just not pay our taxes. How will that work out? Barack Obama, my man, my favorite president, the best president of all time, and George W. paid about $100,000 in taxes a year. Barack Obama paid about $100,000, probably still does, about $100,000 a year in taxes. So Obama is towing his weight much more. If you want to think about it, this is when you talk about support for the military or support for the police, this is where it comes. This is support. They would be nowhere without tax money that pays for their salary, that pays for their training, their uniforms, their cars, for everything. And Donald Trump basically doesn't pay a cent. So you tell me, does he support? How does he support our military? With his lies and his big mouth, talking trash when the camera isn't on, calling them suckers and losers. I don't even know where to start with this. The best part, okay, I'm going to have to go back again and talk about how my 22 years of drug addiction, being a big fat liar and manipulator. I watched Donald Trump come on TV and talk about, no, it's fake news. It's fake news. It's a hoax. No. And look at the way he's leaning on the podium, and he's looking down, and he looks back up. And the most pathetic, it's just downright pathetic, is he's using the same excuses. He's supposedly been under audit now for over 4 years, but we're going to see the taxes. You know, he's telling us we're going to see him. We're going to see the proof. He's been saying this for 5 years, before 2016. He is the only president in modern history that refuses to show his taxes. He could easily show a copy of his taxes if he wanted to. That's bull. It's a lie. And you Trump supporters, man, if you truly believe this, if you really in your heart believe this, then you're worse than a cultist. You're a sucker. Yeah, so he comes back out. He comes out, and within minutes, it's amazing how fast these politicians move, man, when it's something concerning them. Like I talked in the other video about Judge Ginsburg had just barely let out her last breath. And Trump and the Republicans are ready to nominate a new Supreme Court, man. They move with lightning speed when it has something to do with benefiting them, their money, or their reelection. But what about that stimulus check? That second stimulus check? Still, half of all unemployed Americans that became unemployed because of the COVID virus, millions of Americans, at least half of them are still unemployed now. Millions of Americans need this second stimulus check to save what's left of their business, to save what's left of their home before it's foreclosed on, for the most basic of necessities. Have they moved on that? No. Remember, they had to go on vacation for a month. But boy, man, when it concerns them, boy, Trump wasted no time hustling that big fat ass to that podium, man. Within minutes of that New York Times article going public, he was at that podium calling it fake news. It's fake news. And like I said, man, I would sit here and tell you guys and go over all the tells that I saw watching Trump as he talked about that being fake news. But it was all tells. I don't think you even need to be somebody with a history of drug use, of being a big fat liar manipulator, to see him that he was lying. And the most pathetic part, he moves and speaks without any thought. And he ran to this podium to deny this story. But he didn't take the time to really consider, if you're going to lie, at least think about, make it a good lie, not a lie that you haven't been telling for the last 4 years. If you're going to lie, at least try to be good about it. Try to give it some thought. Then again, Trump supporters will believe anything, so I guess you really don't need to put much thought into it. You could tell them, you could tell them, you could basically tell Trump supporters that they hallucinated it. You know what? It never even happened. That New York Times article didn't really happen. You guys just imagined it. It was the liberals putting it in your mind through hypnosis. It didn't really happen. And Trump supporters would be like, yeah, you're right. It was hypnosis. Those dirty liberals, they hypnotized me. I believe that. Nothing would surprise me. So more is going to come out. I wasn't going to make a video on this because I want more of this to come out. I want to hear him lie more. I want him to just dig that hole deeper. I want him to put more nails in that coffin. But I still, after seeing his initial response yesterday, I couldn't help coming out here and just being all giddy and happy. And it's with, it's with due cause. As Americans, this is part of our duty. Without paying our taxes, this country would be useless. If you use our roads, if you live here, paying taxes, it's your duty to pay taxes. For our military, for your protection, to keep your house from burning down. For all the interstate, the bridges, the electric grids. It goes on and on. If you're not paying your fair share, other people are. And that's wrong. You're not smart for not paying your taxes. If you want to talk about unpatriotic or un-American, not paying your taxes, or as Trump puts it, being smart, that That right there is unpatriotic. That is un-American. Pay your fair share. It's disgusting. I don't even know what to call it. You know, when he turns around and he calls somebody like Colin Kaepernick, son of a beef or unpatriotic for taking a knee, for trying to better the country, to point out and work on and talk about, to open a dialogue on the country's flaws, like on how Breonna Taylor was shot in her own house for doing nothing. And Trump calls him unpatriotic, all the while not being proud of himself for not contributing his fair share to keep this country going, to work towards research and development for vaccines and stuff like this. He's not contributing a dime. Trump supporters will probably say, well, he's blessing us with his businessman presidency. You know, he's blessing us. He's taking time out of his busy businessman life to bless us with his experience and his leadership. Yeah, well, it turns out he's not quite the businessman we thought he was either, because he sounds like he's about $500 million in debt. Or is it billion? I don't even know anymore. But yeah, he ain't the businessman you thought he was. And he's a tax cheat. And he's an unpatriotic loser that makes us pay his taxes. All right, I'll be back later with more on this. I've rambled enough. I'll talk to you guys later.